force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too.
We're home.
इश्क ना कीता सी होया तेरे नाल वे इश्क ने कीता साडा मंदड़ा जा हाल वे ओ इश्क ना कीता सी होया तेरे नाल वे इश्क ने कीता साडा मंदड़ा जा हाल वे आशिक हां बैठे गंढ इश्क दी खोल वे ਲੱਖਾਂ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਰਾਬਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰੂਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੁਖੜੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੱਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਹਟਾ ਲਿਆ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਰਾਬਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰੂਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੁਖੜੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੱਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਹਟਾ ਲਿਆ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਰਾਬਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰੂਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੁਖੜੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੱਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਹਟਾ ਲਿਆ ਨਿੱਤੇ ਰੰਗ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਸਫੇਦੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਢੋਲ
Hey, welcome to the Big Bite here on BritAsia TV with me, Sunny, and my wife, Shay.
And coming up a little bit later on in the show, we're going to have our celebrity interview, plus we're going to be talking about Sunny's favourite topic in the world, which is film. But as we always do on the show, we start off with a very special guest on the couch. And today we're really excited because we are surrounded by a lot of talent. We've got art in the studio, but we're talking about art in a very different way. This is airbrushing, and it's done by Jatinder Danjal. You know him as Danjal Art. Jatinder, thank you so much for coming in to the studio. We're really spoiled today. We're surrounded by your art in the studio. Tell us a little bit about airbrushing and what that actually means.
So airbrush, I should have brought one in actually, but essentially what airbrushing is if you think of a spray can and graffiti paint, it's similar to that in the way that paint is kind of expelled through air. But an airbrush allows you to control both the amount of paint coming out and the amount of air going through as well. So you've got a lot of control over it. It takes a while getting used to. It's kind of like driving, I think. It's kind of a bit of an alien kind of system. But if you can draw, you can kind of, like once you get the hang of using an airbrush, you'll find that it's a really versatile medium, and you can paint on anything with it.
Now, here's the thing with airbrushing and a pencil. A pencil you can erase, and you can correct your mistakes. With airbrushing, is it as forgiving?
I would say yes. Yeah,
Okay.
you can.
Really?
You can kind of scrape. Yeah, you can scrape paint off.
Okay.
You can always paint over it again.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything. I don't think people get hung up on the idea with artwork in that You know, some mediums are a bit more forgiving than others, but they all are in their own ways. And some of them, you know, if you do make a mistake, you can kind of turn it into something that kind of works.
Now, airbrushing, everything that you see here in the studio is been done by airbrushing.
Well, one of them is an oil painting.
So that's an oil painting on your right, which
So
is the Sony Mayval picture.
Yeah, so
right?
that's kind of an original piece that I'm working on. It's one of my newer ones.
So then, why did you do why did you move away from airbrushing for that one?
The way I work is I kind of treat each painting like in its own way. So if I'm very comfortable with my airbrushes, and most of the stuff I do will be with that. But if I feel a piece kind of would work better in something else, I'm not going to just restrict myself to one thing. So I kind of like the classical look of the, you know, the Sorba Singh paintings and the 20th century kind of Punjabi art. And I just wanted to go back and kind of do that really and just step away. You get a lot of texture with paintbrushes as well, so I enjoy that.
So when you talk about Sorba Singh, I mean, of course, we all know him for pretty much all of the pictures that most Sikh families have of the gurus have been painted by Sorba Singh. So that kind of gives an idea for our viewers as to who we're talking about. But let's talk about your art and artists in general, because often when we think about Punjabis, you won't really put a profession like being a professional artist as a job title, because often our parents don't encourage us to go into media or arts. What was it like for you when you said to your parents and family, I want to do this as my full-time profession, actually I have a talent to be an artist?
Do you know, it's a bit mixed, to be honest. I think with my dad, when I was growing up, when I was in school, he wasn't really keen on the idea, and he'd rather I went into something like IT.
Why wasn't he keen?
I don't know. It's just a standard thing, isn't it? But now, like I was working in IT for a long time, for about 7 or 8 years, and like towards the end of it, he's like, "Why are you doing IT? You should be doing
Really?
Yeah, he's really against me doing anything with IT now. He wants me to do this, so he's flipped completely. I think my mum's still very reserved. Even now, she's still like, you know, I'm not sure about where you're going with it. I think you should.
Is it more of a concern? Will you be able to pay the mortgage? Is it basically down to that kind of way? How are you going to look after your family? When you're going to get a wife?
I tell you what, it's not.
Where's the concerns come from?
It's not all necessarily like that. So you get the concerns around financial stability.
Yes.
But it's also around the feedback that you're going to get from the community.
Oh,
because there are, like with art, especially in Asian communities generally, maybe Hindus don't get it so bad, but Sikhs, and especially like the Islamic community, if you portray something and it's kind of left open, I don't know, I can't really put it into words, but there are, you know, certain, especially religious paintings.
Of course,
If you
a lot of people are sensitive, and
exactly. So you get, there's issues around that.
But what we've seen here today is that you haven't got any religious paintings up, so it just shows your diversity, and you're not stuck to one subject matter. You also do you also do private commissions? Like if someone's watching now and thinking, I would like a family portrait done in that way, would you take on commissions like that, or are you more to do with, I'm just going to go into galleries?
That's the most, generally that's how I've been surviving for the past couple of years, is through commission work. But I am trying to not step away from it, but in my own time do more original paintings as well, and go through the gallery route, because I think, I don't think there's enough of that.
Right.
There are a handful of artists in the UK and they're doing big things. And I think there's a lot more potential for growth. There's a lot more interest for that as well.
I completely agree with you. I think actually it's really inspiring, and I genuinely mean that hand on heart, to see Punjabi Sikh artists coming out there and say, look, this is who I am, this is my art. Because often what you're talking about when you talk about community and families, they just don't understand art, and they might like it, but perhaps they're used to a very traditional view, whether that is of Sony Mayval or one of our gurus, and that's all they know, and that's what they want to stick with, which isn't always wrong. But I think showing that our new generation, people like yourselves, if you're born in this country, you actually have a different take, don't you, on art. Airbrushing, though, to add that into the mix, is quite different, because you don't just stick to small canvases. What's kind of been the biggest canvas that you've worked on, or walls even, that you've been working on with your airbrushing?
So the biggest one I've done, I worked with SWAT, which is a Sikh Welfare Awareness Team. So they're a charity that serve the homeless in central London. And they have a container in their warehouse that they house all of their food, and it's 15 to 20 foot long. So that's quite a big mural piece that I'm working on. So I've started on one side. I've got another colleague of mine, Jagmohan Singh, who you've met, who's going to be doing the other side. And they've actually got a really massive wall divide in their warehouse. which I'm pretty excited about. I'm actually going to need a cherry picker or a crane to work on that. So
That's
A crane.
it's going to be that's going to be big. It won't
That's
be
brilliant.
airbrush. It'll be spray cans, but in terms of size, I think that'll be.
Now, I found you on Instagram, and when I saw your work, and I thought this is amazing. You know, this is the kind of stuff I like looking at, and I was really excited, and I reached out to speak to you, and then I found out you're a part of a team of artists who want to bring exposure to your artwork, but you're doing it together. Now, tell us about the collective.
So the collective is something that it's not just about a team like working on stuff together. What it is artists, especially in our community, are quite isolated. We kind of do things kind of reclusively, I guess.
Right.
And the thing is, we don't necessarily know other artists, like especially Asian artists.
Right.
So what we did is we reached out to each other, and it's really just a really awesome community to be a part of, because we're just exchanging ideas. So every time we talk, we're springing off ideas, and things happen from that. And also the networks that we all have individually kind of help us get to other places as well.
Nice.
So the progress we've made, we've only been like working together for it's not even a year, to be honest, and we've come a long way because of it. I think if we were working separately, the achievements we've made would have taken a lot longer.
So what are you working together on? Are you going to put an exhibition together? Are you going to come on tour together? What's the plan for the collective?
So the main thing I wanted to come here to talk about is we do have a group exhibition happening in East London. And that's going to happen in August. Raj Tao has the exact details of that. But it's the first time that we've done exhibitions together at kind of more like fair events or at Gurdwara, because we do a lot of religious and Sikh art, trying to promote the history of Sikh in our community. So that's like the first big thing, I'd say. That's the group exhibition in East London. We're really looking forward to that.
And if anyone wants to follow you on Instagram and Facebook, what's the tag that they need to?
Danjal Art.
So can you spell that out for us?
That's DHANJAL.
Now, just finally, before we say goodbye, and I know that we're going to leave our viewers to enjoy and look at some of this fantastic art that we're surrounded by, what would you say to any parent who is encouraging their child to move away from their passion of art, whether that's just doing art GCSE, art, perhaps even at degree level or as a profession? What would you say to them? Perhaps they've gone through and they're worried about what community might say.
I would say, actually, that if they do some research, they'll find that the economy behind arts at the moment is growing, and actually it's a really good place to be in. If you notice that your children or people around you that are talented, there's no point discouraging them. If that's what they want to do, people should realise that there is a growing market in that area, so they've got nothing to worry about.
Listen, we wish you all the best. Do come up and talk to us when you're doing more of a UK tour, and hopefully we'll get you the whole collective in the sat here on the sofa together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be very, very cool. If you want to get further details, make sure you go to Instagram. It's Danjal Art. That's spelled DHANJAL Art for further details.
Well, he's just given us a link in to find out some more artists, and we'll do our very best to get the collective in next week or the week after. We'll try to chase these guys down and bring them here and give you an idea of what kind of artwork that they're doing. And don't forget, if you're interested in any of that art form, if you're an artist yourself, get in touch with me and share. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook and Twitter. So get in touch and see if you've got a talent, then we'll try to get you here on The Big Bite. But now, let's go to a break and we'll be right back.